They said Mad Sam DeStefano didn't fear God, bullets, or blood, only boredom. He called pain a language, and everyone who crossed him eventually learned to speak it. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories of men who built their own nightmares. Chicago, late 1930s. Streetlights hum over cracked sidewalks. A skinny Italian kid in hand-me-down shoes runs errands for men twice his size. That kid is Sam DeStefano, a boy who learned early that power didn't come from muscles, but from madness. His mother prayed in the kitchen, his father swung a hammer in the stockyards. Sam listened to both, but worshipped neither. By 16, he was already hustling, loan sharking, small scams, and a talent for smiling while he threatened you. Neighbors said, "He's got the devil's grin." Sam just laughed. The devil pays better. Every story about him starts with that grin, because it never left, even when the blood did. And somewhere in that grin lay a question no one could answer. Was Sam insane, or just the only one honest about what power really costs? By the 1940s, Chicago was a city of smoke and hunger, where ambition smelled like gasoline and fear. Sam DeStefano walked those alleys like a preacher with no gospel, only deals. He wasn't tall or imposing, but when he spoke, people leaned in, half curious, half terrified. His voice carried something strange, too calm for a man so violent. He'd pat a man's shoulder, whisper a joke, then ruin his life with a smile. But behind the menace was a ritualistic man. Sam ironed his shirts every morning until they looked like glass. He kept his shoes polished even on the days he expected trouble. One old friend said, Sam liked order. He just didn't care who got destroyed to keep it. His wife tried to pull him toward a normal life, Sunday dinners, family, faith. But Sam's church was the streets, and his sermons were debts paid in fear. He started lending money to desperate men, gamblers, shop owners, even priests who bet on horse races. And as the money came back, doubled, sometimes tripled, so did something darker. Sam wasn't chasing wealth anymore. He was chasing control. And control has a way of turning on its master. By the early 1950s, Sam DeStefano wasn't just another street hustler, he was the man you went to when even the mob couldn't help you. He'd built an empire on fear disguised as generosity. "I don't lend money," he'd say. "I lend miracles, and collect prayers later." He began working under the Chicago outfit, a network of old-school gangsters who respected his results but feared his temper. He was brilliant, unpredictable, and completely untouchable. Sam didn't just intimidate, he performed. Every beating was theater. Every debt paid was applause. He'd show up at a debtor's home with flowers for the wife, candy for the kids, and a hammer in his coat. He'd sit, sip coffee, smile, and whisper, "Your family. That's why I'm not angry, yet." Even among killers, Sam stood apart. He didn't drink. He didn't gamble. He didn't brag. His addiction was control, clean, deliberate, total. By 35, his name echoed through the city's underground like a warning siren. The outfit used him for the dirtiest work, loans, intimidation, torture, the jobs no one wanted their fingerprints on. But behind the calm exterior, a fuse was burning. And everyone in Chicago knew, when Mad Sam finally exploded, no one would be safe. By the mid-1950s, Mad Sam DeStefano had turned fear into an enterprise. His headquarters wasn't a mansion or casino, it was a modest office on Chicago's west side, where screams were muffled behind brick walls and radio static. He called it business. The FBI called it hell on earth. Debtors were chained, beaten, sometimes forced to pray with him before the torture began. He'd say softly, "Let's talk to God before we meet him." But outside those walls, Sam was a picture of respectability, driving a Cadillac, donating to the church, shaking hands with politicians. Even the cops called him Mr. DeStefano. He wore his madness like a suit, tailored and pressed. He organized his crew with military precision, collectors, enforcers, messengers. Every payment was logged, every warning delivered with poetic care. He'd hand out envelopes like communion, each one a reminder of his reach. Yet, in private, he spent hours writing strange notes, Bible verses, prophecies, rants about demons and loyalty. His mind was a cathedral of chaos, and he was both priest and prisoner inside it. Chicago bent around his will. But the higher he rose, the quieter the city grew, as if even the streets were holding their breath. Power had made Sam untouchable, but it also made him unbearable. By the early 1960s, even the men who once admired him began to whisper. They called him the Mad Dog of Chicago. His temper no longer had a leash. He'd summon his crew to late-night meetings, locking the doors behind them. "Somebody's been talking," he'd say, tapping his fingers on the table. The room would go still. No one breathed. No one blinked. Then Sam would smile, a slow, crooked thing, and the meeting would end in silence or screams. Loyalty, for Sam, wasn't trust. It was terror. He once said, "You don't need friends when everyone's afraid to be your enemy." But cracks began to show. His brother Mario tried to calm him, reminding him that even the outfit had rules. Sam didn't like rules. "Rules are for men who sleep at night," he snapped. Soon, his paranoia grew sharper than his knives. He began suspecting everyone, even the ones who'd take bullets for him. The line between loyalty and betrayal blurred, and the only thing more dangerous than crossing Mad Sam was standing too close to him. Because madness, once fed, never stays hungry for long. By the late 1960s, the FBI had finally caught the scent. Wiretaps, informants, secret meetings, they were closing in, inch by inch. But Sam DeStefano didn't run. He laughed. "Let them listen," he told his wife. "Maybe they'll learn how business really works." He'd talk openly on the phone, mixing truth with madness. Agents couldn't tell where the threats ended and the delusions began. He mentioned demons, divine justice, and a coming cleansing. One FBI memo simply read, "Subject unstable, unpredictable, extremely dangerous." Sam began building his basement into what neighbors later called a courtroom. A chair bolted to the floor, lights that never blinked, walls padded with soundproofing. He'd bring in his debtors, accuse them, judge them, and deliver punishment, all while quoting scripture. He'd shout, "The wages of sin is death," then whisper, "But I'm merciful today." But paranoia eats its creator. Sam started hearing voices, footsteps outside that weren't there, cars parked too long, shadows that felt familiar. He slept with a shotgun under his pillow and a Bible on his chest. The FBI didn't have to break him. Sam was already dismantling himself, one fear at a time. It wasn't a bullet or betrayal that brought Mad Sam down, it was his own mouth. By 1963, the outfit had grown tired of his chaos. He drew too much heat, too many headlines. And when he started ranting about testifying, claiming he'd expose everyone from the church to the mayor, the mob knew he'd become a liability. The FBI charged him with extortion and conspiracy. During his trial, Sam turned the courtroom into theater. He shouted at judges, cursed prosecutors, even brought a microphone to amplify his voice. When ordered to stop, he smirked. "I'm not crazy," he said. "I'm ahead of schedule." Reporters filled the gallery, scribbling down his every outburst. Some laughed, others couldn't look away. He'd wave to them between testimonies, as if this was all part of his plan. But behind the show, the cracks were splitting wide. His allies distanced themselves, his power faded, and the streets whispered what no one dared to say aloud. Mad Sam wasn't scary anymore. He was sad. And when fear turns to pity in the underworld, a man's days are already numbered, even if his heart's still beating. They said the cell was quiet, but Sam still heard the voices. Prison wasn't made for men like him, it was too still, too honest. No money to collect, no fear to control, just time. Endless time. He tried to keep his rituals alive. Every morning, he'd polish his prison shoes, straighten his uniform, and sit by the window as if waiting for an appointment. He talked to himself, sometimes preaching, sometimes laughing at jokes only he understood. The guards stopped mocking him after a while. There was something unsettling about how calm he stayed. One afternoon, a young inmate asked, "You really used to run Chicago?" Sam chuckled softly. "Run? No, kid. I just made everyone believe no one else could." The FBI had broken his body, but not his theater. He'd rehearse old monologues in his cell, quoting scripture between bursts of rage. His faith had twisted into something dark, half prayer, half curse. Years passed. His name faded from the papers. But inside those gray walls, Mad Sam's legend grew, a ghost haunting his own mind, pacing a 10-foot stage. Still performing for an audience that had long stopped listening. By the early 1970s, Mad Sam DeStefano was no longer the monster who ruled Chicago's streets. He was an old man trapped inside his own legend. Age had softened his body but not his paranoia. He still believed the outfit wanted him silenced. And maybe, for once, he was right. He'd been released on appeal, living quietly in his Chicago home, or as quietly as a man like Sam could. Neighbors said he'd stand by the window for hours, staring at nothing, muttering prayers that sounded like threats. He wrote long letters to his brothers, warning them about betrayal, God's judgment, and what comes for liars. He mailed those letters but never received a reply. A few visitors said he seemed almost peaceful, drinking espresso, talking about destiny. But every piece in his life came with a shadow. In 1973, two men came to his house, men he trusted. They called him Sammy, the way old friends do. Minutes later, his wife heard a gunshot. Then silence. The man who terrified Chicago died in his own garage, betrayed by the very world he built on fear. And yet, even in death, no one could agree. Was it vengeance, or justice, that finally found Mad Sam? When the news broke, few mourned Mad Sam DeStefano. The outfit called it inevitable. The FBI called it closure. But the streets, they just went quiet for a while, as if even the city needed a moment to breathe again. Sam's name faded from headlines, yet his story lingered in whispers, the tale of a man who turned fear into faith and madness into method. He was brilliant, charismatic, and utterly unhinged, a reminder that evil doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it smiles, hands you coffee, and calls you friend. Some say he was insane. Others claim he was the purest mirror of the world he lived in, ruthless, greedy, and convinced that mercy was weakness. Maybe both were true. If there's a lesson in Mad Sam's story, it's this. Power without peace is just another form of prison. You can control others, but never the silence that follows. And somewhere in that silence, his ghost still laughs, not out of joy, but recognition. He outlived the world he built, not because he was lucky, but because he never broke his word. Don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more gangster stories like this one.